Committee of UNSC, Iran blames Tel Aviv for illegal attacks. Israel slams IAEA as completely blind, says Tehran broke all commitments. Iranian permanent representatives to the UN, Saeed El-Avani, rejected the presence of Israel at the meeting and insisted that the attacks on its nuclear facilities had no legal basis at the UN Security Council meeting in New York City on Tuesday. Israel falsely justified these attacks on Iran's peaceful nuclear program as imminent threat. This claim is baseless and has no legal basis, the Iranian envoy declared. Eravani added that while Tehran complies with atomic regulations, Israel remains the region's only undeclared nuclear armed entity and non-party to the non-proliferation treaty, refusing international atomic energy agency inspections and monitoring. These illegal actions set a dangerous precedent, undermine the non-proliferation regime, and damage the credibility of the Security Council, he warned, referring to reckless attacks by Israel and the United States in defiance of United Nations resolutions. If there were a Nobel Prize for deception, the Iranian regime would win it every single year. It has broken every commitment it has ever made, responded Israeli Ambassador Danny Danon. He proclaimed that the IAEA is completely blind as Iran enriches uranium to 60% with no civilian application, stating that all the nuclear work talks were a framework for deception. You are dealing with the masters of lies, deceit, and delay. You have seen how they respond to your usual approach. So I urge you, take a different approach. Israel has done its part. The United States has done its part. Now the world must do its part. Danon called the UNSC members. U.S. envoy Dorothy Shear also weighed in, stating that Iran's actions had prolonged conflicts and perpetuated instability in the Middle East and beyond, citing drone transfers to Russia and non-compliance with safeguards. A ceasefire between Israel and Iran appeared to be holding on Wednesday as Israel lifted emergency restrictions and the Iranian president declared the end of a 12-day war that was imposed on the Iranian people despite initial accusations of violations. Trump's ceasefire announcement came after Iran attacked a U.S. base in Qatar in retaliation for Sunday's stealth bomber operation. Israel and Iran have exchanged daily strikes and counter-strikes since June 13, when Israel first attacked Iranian nuclear facilities and other targets. They legitimize the use of force. Russia accuses West of hypocrisy over Iran attacks. China states Tehran has never given up on diplomacy. Russian and Chinese permanent representatives to the United Nations, Vasily Nambeza and Fu Kong, lashed a scathing attack at Western countries at Tuesday's UN Security Council meeting in New York City, calling their stance on Iran detached from reality and stating it is simply impossible to take them seriously. Nambeza accused Western states of cynicism and hypocrisy, claiming a Western-backed International Atomic Energy Agency resolution on June 12 paved the way for coordinated military action. Immediately afterwards, Israel launched strikes against peaceful IRI, Islamic Republic of Iran, nuclear facilities. A week later, sovereign Iranian territory was attacked by the United States, who declared, suggesting it was an attempt to legitimize the use of force in a violation of international law. Nambeza also criticized the UK and France for defending the strikes while posing as champions of diplomacy, warning the attacks breached UN and I charters and brought the world on the brink of a massive nuclear catastrophe. The whole world was on the brink of a massive nuclear catastrophe, and Nambeza warned, condemning U.S. and Israeli recent strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities as unprovoked aggression and a painful blow to the non-proliferation regime. China's envoy Fu Kongji called Russia accusing the U.S. and Israel of seriously violating international law and violating Iran's sovereignty, while stressing that Iran has never given up on diplomatic efforts despite Western pressure and sanctions. German representative to the UN, Antti Lindesti, accused Iran of failing to meet its legally binding safeguards obligations, warning its nuclear program continues to pose serious proliferation concerns, especially amid fears of nuclear material being relocated after recent talks. The ceasefire between Israel and Iran appeared to be holding from Tuesday as Israel lifted emergency restrictions and the Iranian president declared the end of a 12-day war that was imposed on the Iranian people, despite mutual accusations of violations. U.S. president announced the ceasefire after Iran attacked a U.S. base in Qatar in retaliation for Sunday's stealth bomber operation. Israel and Iran have exchanged daily strikes and counter-strikes since June 13, when Israel first attacked Iranian nuclear facilities and other targets. It's terrible what they've done. Trump slams Spain for being the only country not paying.
Thank you for taking the time before flying home. You just said you believe the conflict between Israel and Iran is over. What makes you so confident it is? And what do you do if it isn't?
Because I dealt with both, and they're both tired, exhausted. They fought very, very hard and very viciously, very violently, and they were both satisfied to go home and get out. And can it start again? I guess someday it can. It could maybe start soon. I think a big telltale sign was when, as you know, Iran somewhat, by not much, violated the ceasefire, and Israel had the planes going out that morning, and there were a lot of them, 52 of them. And I said, you got to get them back. And they brought them back. They didn't do anything. They brought them back. It was very good. I thought it was amazing, actually. They have fought a hell of a war. They fought very hard. I think the war ended, actually, when we hit the various nuclear sites with the planes. And I just hope you people can give these pilots, these are the best pilots in the world. They're the best shots in the world. They call them shots. That's what they are. And wait a minute. And I just hope you can give them the respect they deserve, because they came home to fake news. And like, oh, gee, there was hardly any damage. The things are decimated. So, but I think, no, I think they're very much finished. I think Israel's going to get back to doing what. I think that Iran's going to get back. You know, Iran has a huge advantage. They have great oil, and they can do things. I don't see them getting back involved in the nuclear business anymore. I think they've had it. They've been at it for 20 years, and I don't see that happening either. Now, if it does, we're always there. It won't be me. It'll be somebody else. Oh, fake news, CNN? Oh, yeah, here we go. Wait till you hear this question. You should really say how great our soldiers and our warriors are.
I think everyone appreciates our soldiers and our warriors. I do have two questions for you, Mr. President. You just cited Israeli intelligence on these attacks. Earlier, you said U.S. intelligence was inconclusive. Are you relying on Israeli intelligence for your assessment of the impact of the strikes?
No, this is also, Iran made the statement, and it's also, if you read the document that was given, that Pete can talk about if you'd like, the document said it could be very severe damage. But they didn't take that. They said it could be limited or it could be very severe. They really didn't know, other than to say it could be limited or it could be very, very severe. And you didn't choose to put that because it was very early after. Since then, we've collected additional intelligence. We've also spoken to people who have seen the site, and the site is obliterated. And we think everything nuclear is down there. They didn't take it out. Go ahead.
Mr. President, Secretary General Rutte has described President Putin as an adversary, a threat, an enemy. Do you view him the same way? And in addition to that, you mentioned General Kane, your chief of staff, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
General Kane.
Yes. He has said that Mr. Putin has territorial ambitions beyond Ukraine. Do you view that in the same way?
It's possible. I mean, it's possible. I know one thing, he'd like to settle. He'd like to get out of this thing. It's a mess for him. He called the other day. He said, can I help you with Iran? I said, no, you can help me with Russia. because, you know, in the last few weeks, we took care of India and Pakistan, Kosovo, Serbia. I think on Friday we have coming in, the Congo is coming in, and Rwanda is coming in. That was a vicious war that went on, a machete war, heads chopped off all over Africa. They're coming in. We did 2 others in addition to that. Nobody's ever done anything like this. No, I consider him a person that's, I think, been misguided. I'm very surprised, actually. I thought we would have had that settled easy. I've settled 4 of them in the meantime. But he did call up, and he said, you know, he's close to Iran. He'd like to help us get a settlement. I said, no, you help me get a settlement with you, with Russia. And I think we're going to be doing that, too. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President. You've made clear your position on what impact the strikes had. I wanted to ask you what is next with Iran. For instance, is there any indication from U.S. intelligence that Iran was able to move any material?
No, just the opposite. We think we hit them so
Ripped in fields, homes, and camps, the DRC's women trapped in a war without protection as GBV rises. In the wake of the M23 rebel occupation of Goma and surrounding regions, human rights groups are reporting a sharp surge in gender-based violence. Armed men are targeting women and girls, using rape as a weapon of war. Survivors traumatized and silenced by fear, shame, and social stigma remain hidden, with their communities unable to speak out or to seek justice. I wish someone would help us for all this to change. There's too much looting here. If the bandits don't find anything to steal, they set you, and if you're unlucky, they rape you, said Fatuma, a rape survivor who wished to keep her identity hidden. As the violence escalates, local human rights defenders are working quietly, often at significant risk, to support survivors and document the abuses unfolding in the shadows of the conflict. We have a problem here. When women go to their fields, they are raped there, and to this day, we don't know the perpetrators. Our daughters are sometimes raped in homes, and we still don't know the identity of perpetrators. This has become very worrying here in our community, explained the social worker Muhindo Jinot. Jinot explains that authorities must strengthen security measures in the region. Earlier this year, the armed group M23 took control of a significant portion of the Republic's territories, leaving civilians caught in a devastating humanitarian crisis, including sexual and gender-based violence. This crisis has led to widespread GBV perpetrated by not only M23 rebels, but also Congolese military and paramilitary militias, civilians, and bandit groups. Despite a significant presence of international forces operating in eastern DRC, both civil society representatives and displaced women have expressed little confidence in these forces' ability to prevent violence against them. I've never seen anything like this. 2 killed, streets flooded as storm hits Paris, and heatwave, strong winds, lightning strikes, and flash floods caused chaos in France on Wednesday night. 2 people, including a child, were reported to have died in the incident. A 59-year-old man died when his motorbike struck a fallen tree in Medellin, and 12-year-old boy was killed by a fallen tree while by a river in Tan at Garonne, where winds reached 114 kilometers per hour. Footage shows locals sitting outside a cafe in Paris while rain pours relentlessly and traffic moves through waterlogged streets. The aftermath of the storm reveals fallen trees scattered across the sidewalks, and entire neighborhoods submerged in water. We've never seen anything like this before, not in a long time, said Eric, a Paris resident standing by a flooded street. Honestly, I've never seen anything like it, even though 2 people died, so it's still pretty dangerous. You have to be careful. Jean Perry, another local, was caught by surprise after attending a concert at the theater. Do you see the radar clear? I can't get out because if I open the doors, water will get into the car. He explained, pointing to his submerged vehicle. He called the insurance company to send a tow truck. We've been waiting for 2 hours, he added. France is experiencing its 50th nationwide heatwave since 1947, with temperatures exceeding 40 degrees Celsius. Rain leaked through the roof of the National Assembly, prompting firefighters to investigate while ministers paused their discussions on the conflict in the Middle East. Parisian firefighters responded to 40 reports of fallen trees, but reported no injuries. Kenya is under renovation. Ruto must go. Protesters clash with police in Nairobi while marking an anniversary of anti-finance bill uprising. Police had been dispersing protesters who rallied in Nairobi on Wednesday to mark the first anniversary of last year's anti-France bill protest. Footage shows protesters blocking the streets and throwing objects at police officers, as well as running from tear gas and water cannons police was using to disperse them. To end extrajudicial killings in this country, Ruto must go. To end impunity in this country, Ruto must go. One protester said, Kenya is under renovation. The remaining months we are under renovation. Ruto must go. One term, added the second. The protest marked the anniversary of a nationwide uprising on June 25, 2024, when young demonstrators dubbed Gen Z stormed the Kenyan parliament to oppose a controversial finance bill that proposed heavy tax increases on essential goods. The government supported the bill as necessary to reduce the national debt, leading to violent protests that resulted in over 60 deaths and numerous abductions. According to the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, authorities reportedly promised to protect peaceful protests but warned against the public gatherings. Agent protest from home, a move seen by man as a threat to free expression. Meanwhile, the protest remains leaderless and is organized primarily through social media. As of 2024, poverty rates remain alarmingly high in Kenya, with over 25 million people constituting about 49.8% of the population living below the poverty line, and youth unemployment affecting more than 38% of those aged 15 to 35. We have gunshot wounds. Casualties rushed to hospital amid fierce clashes with police during anti-government protests in Nairobi. Dozens of protesters were hospitalized after being injured in clashes with security forces in Nairobi on Wednesday as demonstrators marked the anniversary of last year's anti-government action. There are several injuries. We have head injuries. We have gunshot wounds. We have soft tissue injuries to their legs. We have suspected spinal injury. We had to put on a cervical collar and transport promptly to Kenyatta. Alvini Kendo, paramedic at Luton Hospital, said. Footage shows protesters clashing with police on the streets of Nairobi and casualties being rushed to hospital where wounded people were seen being treated. 56 people arrived in a Kenyatta National Hospital, many of them with rubber bullet wounds, according to the media reports. 8 people were reported killed and hundreds injured in the protest, as government sources had not confirmed the use of live ammunition at a time of publication. Last year's protest saw 60 people killed while others went missing when people hit the streets over tax increases amid a cost of living crisis. Water is life. Locals in DRC's Kivu humanitarian crisis is unfolding in Bukavu, South Kivu, where over 100,000 residents have been left without access to drinking water. The interruption occurred on June 20 when unidentified armed men intimidated staff at the water source in Mazigiro, forcing them to shut off the water supplies valves. According to Mundumbi Mwenze, interim director of Regi Deso in South Kivu, the situation is critical. The danger is that if our reservoirs aren't supplied, neighborhoods like Muhungu, Mbazi, and Shai will remain without water. He explained that Gizo is not an army because these people are armed, knowing full well that this environment is insecure. The Gizo cannot send its technicians there for fear they might lose their lives. The shutdown of Mazigiro water catchment area has left families struggling amid the dry season and a resurgence of cholera. Meanwhile, locals have resorted to unsafe natural. This shows residents filing canisters from makeshift sources, highlighting the growing desperation as the region faces both insecurity and public health risks. The spring isn't safe for human health. I came to fetch water so I can do my people's laundry. But honestly, Regi Diso should make an effort to bring us water. Saida Ashima Musha Galusa, a resident of Panzi, while Kahi local Beatrice Mweze warned that this spring can lead to illness. According to international organizations, more than 50% of Congolese lack access to safe drinking water, contributing to frequent outbreaks of waterborne diseases such as cholera, dysentery, and typhoid fever. World's narrowest car meets the Italian inventor behind a 50-centimeter wide Fiat Panda. 30-year-old Andrea Marazzi from Bagnolo, Cremasco, a small town 40 kilometers east of Milan, has stunned the car enthusiasts with his latest invention. World's narrowest Fiat Panda at just 50 centimeters wide. After a year of meticulous work involving cutting, welding, and reshaping the iconic car's body, Marazzi unveiled his creation at Panda Pandino, the international rally celebrating the Fiat Panda. Footage taken on Tuesday shows the tiny car driving down the road, shocking bystanders as it turns. Later, Marazzi explains how the vehicle runs, showing the battery in fully functioning cabin that was built around the size of his torso. I created everything around me, cutting, welding, sheet metal, plastic, gaskets, and so on, Marazzi said, adding the car is fully electric. The steering still works. It goes forward, it goes backwards, it brakes, the lights, everything is fully functional, even the windows and the mirrors. The engine comes from a scooter powered by a rack controlled by the steering wheel, but original brake calipers remained, original hubs, original rims. The same for the rear. In front, we have a single headlight with its two original turn signals. Marazzi explains that the inspiration came from years of seeing Panda enthusiasts modify the car in every conceivable way. This year's Panda Pandino, the International Panda Rally, this year gathered more than 1,000 Panda different models. Truly a tragedy, at least 100 dead, dozens injured after transformer explosion during exams in a car's high school distressing. At least 10 people died and dozens were injured following a transformer explosion at Bethlemi Bogada High School in Bangua, Central African Republic on Wednesday during the national baccalaureate examinations. The incident reportedly triggered panic and a deadly stampede among the approximately 5,300 students present. What has happened is truly tragedy, said the Devani student. We were in the room composing the history and geography test when we heard a noise. It was a thunderclap and we were told that the transformer had exploded. As a result, everyone got scared and started running in all directions, which led to severe deaths and injuries. Many lost consciousness and some lost many things. The explosion occurred around 13:30 local time as smoke was seen rising from the west side of the school compound. According to initial reports, technicians from the electricity company were working on the transformer when it exploded. Emergency services, including firefighters and medical teams, responded quickly to the scene. As footage shows, victims were transported to hospitals in private vehicles, reportedly due to the high number of casualties and limited emergency infrastructure. It is a real tragedy because a lot of baccalaureate candidates have been brought here in a state of shock, said Anisette Brice Longo Mbedici, a nurse at the local hospital. Officials launched an investigation to find out what caused the explosion. We'll wrap it up for Around the World News Update. Morning.